Okay, so before we get into the podcast today, I just want to thank our January sponsor. And for all our podcasts and our video content, our January sponsor is Mayflower Brewery. We love everyone there. They're so nice. They do amazing things for the community. They make great beer. Their porter is unprecedented. Love and Wrestling's great. If you like sours, Resistance to Frutiles, phenomenal. They let us record here. They're just so supportive of us, and we love everyone at Mayflower Brewery. If you happen to be in the Plymouth area, if you're not, ask your local bar, your local liquor store to carry Mayflower beer. It's great stuff. You'll love them. You'll love their beer. And I think I'm going to go get another Mayflower beer right now. Welcome back, Inebri-ites. This is Andy and the Inebri-art podcast, and we are recording again at the Mayflower Brewery. Good friends of ours who were very nice enough to let me have a birthday party here yesterday that I'm still recovering from. I was on Twitter not too long ago, and I came across local podcasters, which I super love, and just starting out in the world of podcasting. So I brought in the gang from the Hometown Horror Podcast. Did I get that correct?
America's Hometown Horror Podcast.
Shit, so close.
That's okay.
So we have Matt, Andrew, and Kat.
Mike,
damn it!
You said you were going to...
Damn it! Every time I was so certain. I'm like,
no,
I got this.
that's
I
all
got
right.
this.
You did warn us ahead of time, so that's okay.
Every episode.
I was hoping you wouldn't forget my name.
Yeah, I feel like yours
that
was
one,
easy.
That one's
Yeah,
pretty
I
easy.
think so.
But like, I've talked to him more than... Damn it.
That's all right.
Mike, Andrew, and Kat. So close.
That's us. How we doing?
So, I mean, let's break it down. What is America's Hometown Horror Podcast?
So, to give it a quick summary, America's Hometown Horror is a podcast that we just started. We, obviously, all three of us are residents of Plymouth, so America's Hometown, and then the horror is the big thing that we focus on. We're all huge horror fans. Mm-hmm. So we're going to cover a variety of topics. The episodes that we've recorded so far have been all about movies. We've done an episode on Krampus. We've done an episode on The Shining.
Oh, nice.
We have an episode coming up next week on It Follows. So we're going to cover older films, more current films as they come out. We're going to talk about TV shows, books, comic books. One thing I'm super excited to get into, and obviously this will kind of be around, obviously, the fall season, are haunted attractions, local haunted attractions in the New England area. Been going to those for a long time, and I feel like there's not a lot of coverage of those in podcast form.
No, not really.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of, like Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando and also in Hollywood, there's podcasts that cover those, but nothing on a local level, so I kind of thought that would be an interesting way to tackle it. Did I leave anything out?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. That's probably going to be what sets us apart, is doing the coverage of those local, horror events, stuff like that.
Well, and even just horror stuff around town with all the ghost tours and everything. We're definitely going to cover that.
Yeah, which spooky adventures too around this area.
Wicked spooky.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I think we're gonna try and expand as we go.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, we're very green in this area. So we're recording this in our basement with a microphone that we bought off of Amazon about a month ago.
Yep.
And then we
pretty much how we started.
Yeah. So we were sitting at Red Tea Garden.
I know that place.
Yeah. It was over by the airport. So we were sitting there, and we were having scorpion bowls and Mai Tais, and we were just shooting the shit. Because the three of us, whenever we tend to talk a lot about horror movies, TV shows, whatever we're watching, and we just said, okay, well, why couldn't we do this in a podcast? And we were just all right, well, why don't we do it? So I think on Black Friday, I decided, what, screw it. So I bought a couple of microphones. She already had a MacBook that had GarageBand on it, and we were like, why don't we just do this? And here we are.
So why did you go with podcasts? Were you fans of podcasts before?
I am brand new to the podcast world. I first podcast I listened to actually was on our way back this summer from Pennsylvania, and we listened to a Charles Manson podcast for like 6 hours.
Yeah, it was right around when Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out, and there's a what's the name of the podcast? It's called You Should Remember Manson. It's awesome. It's it's like a 7 or 8 hour series about Manson and his and his followers
awesome.
and everything. It was
loved
really
it.
good.
I was like, I don't know why I wasn't into podcasts before, but yeah.
It's so funny because people are like, oh, I don't really listen to podcasts. I'm like, well, then you haven't found the right one.
Yeah.
Right.
There's so many different styles and formats, and there's a topic for everybody.
There really is, and I mean, I feel like that's all I listen to are podcasts now. Yeah. I rarely turn on the radio in my car. But I used to be a huge radio listener. I would never turn off EEI or the Sports Hub, and now I just don't anymore. I listen to podcasts about everything. There's a bunch of horror podcasts that I subscribe to. I listen to a couple of podcasts on Barstool Sports. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a niche for everything. There's so many out there.
Someone told me there's one about breeding chameleons.
I don't doubt it.
Okay, there's a podcast for everybody.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, so I mean, I listen to them all the time. What about you?
I don't really listen to too many different podcasts. Every once in a while, I'll watch a podcast on like YouTube.
Sure. Yeah.
Mostly the ones I watch are just like the funny, goofy, like comedian ones that they do.
Yeah.
Like Tom Segura has one.
Oh yeah. Your mama's house.
Yeah.
He also
really
does.
Good.
What is it called? It's like two bears, one cave, or something like that. With
him and Bert Kreischer.
Bert Kreischer. Yeah,
I know that one.
And then just a couple other like smaller ones, like Theo Vaughn has a podcast. He's like a kind of obscure comedian, but he's really good.
Really southern accent?
Yeah, he's got like a mullet.
Yeah, I know exactly who that is.
I like listening to him. So I've just really recently started getting into it. I still don't really listen to him on a regular basis, but it's something to break up the monotony of the same old thing with the radio or movies on TV, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I think I'm going to get into a lot more different podcasts now that I've listened to a few, and I'm like, oh, these are good. I like this. I actually enjoy that. So it'd be something I might enjoy doing too. So,
and it's one of those things where like, some come and go. Like I started listening to one, and it's been I don't know, a dozen episodes or so. I'm like, I don't know if I'm really feeling this anymore. And, and then you find something else new. I have a desk job, so I listen to them during the day.
Me too.
But so you decided to start a podcast.
We did.
Obviously with no experience, which is exactly what we did.
Yeah.
Didn't know how to edit audio. Didn't own a microphone.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of scheduling are you guys looking at? How often are you planning on putting out episodes?
So we've talked about this a lot, and I think right now we're kind of looking at like a bi-weekly schedule, because I think for me, so we have to. The process has kind of been like this. So we got started. I run the Twitter account, the Instagram account. We have a website coming. Kat's background is in graphic design, so she designed all of our logos. She's working on the website now, and so that's all coming. But for each episode, I tend to write like an outline of what we want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I try to keep them as short as possible. Like I think obviously the whole goal was to get going in January. We just happened to get going sooner.
Yeah.
Our first episode I think went a little bit too long. I had too many notes, so I've tried to scale that back a little bit. So I write the outline, and then I send it over to them. We use Google Docs. We just kind of collaborate if people want to add anything.
Yeah.
And then once we have that hammered out, our tradition has kind of been to go somewhere, grab a pizza, order takeout, get a couple of drinks, go back to our house, and then just set up and record.
Yeah.
But I think for me, the thing that's been the toughest is the amount of time it takes. Because I'm doing this all myself. The editing part. The editing part has been tough.
Yeah.
So I'm getting better at it. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to manipulate some sound on GarageBand and reading a lot about it. But that's kind of been the biggest thing. So I think weekly might be tough for us at this point, right? I mean,
I would say so.
Yeah. It's a lot, but it's fun. Like I mean, it's our new hobby on Friday nights. Is like pizza and a podcast, and we just kind of all hang out and chat about whatever topic we're talking about that week.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a smart schedule because when you start getting into podcasts, you start like reading up, like what do people want, like what are the things that will turn people off.
Yeah.
And one of the things to like have a schedule and stick to it.
Right.
If it's once a month, come out once a month. It's when you are like, we're gonna do it weekly, and then it's weekly, and then it's bi-weekly.
Yeah.
Once a month, and they call it pod fade.
Yeah.
You know, and
I never heard that term before, but that makes sense.
You know, we have a small network of shows, and one of them kind of podfaded, and it happens. You know.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, you got to kind of expect hiccups.
Yeah.
We've been doing this almost 3 years now, and I think last December we didn't put out an episode.
Sure.
And, you know, we're weekly, so that's kind of big.
Yeah.
But so then we're like, all right, fuck it, we're back on the schedule, and just kind of picked up and just, you know, get that happen and just keep moving. And but it can be daunting.
Well, I think, you know, I'm glad we're starting now, because I feel like in the winter there's not as much going on.
Yep. Yeah.
But so I'd obviously, like, when it gets to be the summer and, you know, we're going to the beach during the day, I want to be able to, you know, still have the same passion for this. But the good thing, at least for me, and I know you guys too, is that this is something that we talk about these movies anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not something that's kind of, you know, a pain in the ass to sit down and record, like, oh, we got to record a podcast. It's kind of just us shooting the breeze. And
yeah, we'd be doing the same thing anyway, just not on a mic.
We talk too much. We're like out having a drink before we record the podcast, and I'm like, save it for the podcast. Don't talk about it.
I get yelled at all the time.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we're guest dependent, and it's,
sure.
You know, you start off bringing in friends, and then friends of friends, and now to the point where we bring in total strangers.
Yep.
And so Fish will be like setting up or getting the sound levels, and I'll just start talking to the person, and he'll be like, "Do not interview before." I'm like, "Sorry, man, sorry."
It's hard.
Just sit here.
I found, like, I interview people in, like, regular life.
Yeah.
This woman came over to, like, we had an electric dog fence, and she was repairing it, and so, like, I'm kind of just standing over her shoulder, and, like, after about 5 minutes, I'm like, am I interviewing you? I'm sorry. It's kind of compulsive now, where I just start asking questions about people.
Yeah.
But it's been a ton of fun. And the benefits have kind of come about because of it. Like, we're just doing it because we want to have fun, and we love podcasts. And, but now we get, like, invited places, and we started recording live at events. And so people will reach out and be like, "Hey, we're doing this event. You want to record?"
Yeah.
Like, sure.
See, so that's eventually where I would like to get, right? So then this is, you know, this total passion project hobby. If it evolves into something else, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't really matter to me, because I'm having fun doing it, and I think we all are, right?
If you're not having fun, you wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
Like, especially because people are like, do you make money at it? And it's like, now we, like, make a little bit in, like, weird ways. Not like we get sponsors, but they generally don't pay us. It's more like in trade.
Yeah.
So we'll there's one Airship Notebooks that sent us, like, cases of sketchbooks that we give out at our events, which draws more people.
Yeah.
So, like, it helps us that way. But yeah, I mean, to get, like, the real sponsorships, like Casper Mattress, and you need, like, 10,000 downloads an episode. And that's
so I
a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I did some research into that, and so when we first got started, we recorded the episode on Krampus, and I think, you know, we were sitting on it for like a week, because I was using, I think when I was DMing you on Twitter, so we were using Libsyn at first.
Yeah.
And we uploaded the episode, and it just, for some reason, it didn't get sent out to any platforms, and I was in contact with people there, and they were sporadic in getting back to me, and they weren't, you know, it was a pain in the ass. So I just said, you know what, fuck it, I'm going with a different platform.
Yeah, who do you use?
We use Spreaker now.
Spreaker?
And literally, I signed up for it, and within 10 minutes they were distributed to Spotify and a couple other platforms. Like, we're still pending on iTunes.
Yeah.
We're still pending on Google Podcasts. That'll probably be, I would say, at the beginning of next week. I know Apple, usually the verification process takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, there's some weird ones, like, shit. What am I thinking of? Not Pandora. What's the other one? Spotify?
Spotify,
yep.
So it's like, we've submitted, I don't even know if we're on there yet, and I know for a while they're being selected.
You guys are on Spotify.
Yeah,
Are we
I think,
on Spotify?
Yeah,
that's he was listening yesterday.
Going through a couple of episodes, and then you guys had like 180 episodes or something.
Yeah, you guys are definitely on there.
Yeah, we got a few.
And so you're on Castbox too. I think it was you I was talking to, so you didn't even know that you were on there. But yeah, that's one.
Yeah,
so,
and then that's the other thing is, like, because all these aggregates, you're not even sure how they all get the information, but then you end up in all these weird places, and you get weird emails like, we got downloaded in Brazil, and then, like, 2 days later I get an email being like, you're the 182nd ranked art podcast in Brazil. I'm like, what are there, 183? Like, it's such a weird...
Insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it's we've been downloaded like in crazy places.
Yeah.
We have a steady listener in Nigeria.
Wow.
No shit.
Yeah. South Korea, Japan, pretty much all over the place. And I remember the first one was Netherlands, I think. And so we're all like, oh my god, I can't believe someone listened to us outside of the country. And then I ran into a friend of mine. I was like, I was listening to you when I was away the other day. I'm like, where were you? He's like, the Netherlands. I'm like, you suck. I'm like, that doesn't count.
Got us all excited.
Yeah. So now I think we've been downloaded in 45 of the 50 states. Yeah. So awesome. It's been a weird trip, and so like I was just thinking, because I was telling you that we record at live events, and you want to do things about like these haunted houses and whatnot. You guys should record at them.
So that's something that we've kind of spitballed about. Like I think like eventually I'd like to get to a place where, because we have a lot of friends in the industry downtown. Obviously, we talked about a couple of them already, but I'd like to maybe approach a couple people around October and try and do like a horror trivia that we could host, that type of thing. But so a couple years back, I actually was an actor at Barrett's Haunted Mansion up in Abington.
I was also...
Get out of here.
Yeah, they do...
Wow.
Like in the beginning of the month, they do like charity nights.
They do.
And part of it is like you have to supply half the actors for it.
Yes.
So I was helping out a friend. And,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it was so much fun.
It was so cool. So I did it a couple of times. Like I worked on Thursdays. I think I did like 2 or 3 shifts in October, and it's a lot of work. It was pretty intense. Like, I was working all day, and then I was going there. They spend a ton of time putting makeup on you, and they stick you in there, and you're just pretty much screaming at people for 4 or 5 hours straight. So it was cool. I really enjoyed it. I think I like participating and walking through the house a little bit more than I like being an actor there, just because I like the experience of it. But it was cool, and I'm so glad that I did it. But I still have a couple people that I know that do it, so eventually I'd like to, say, hey, like, we'd like to cover your house, talk about it, spoiler free, whatever, give you guys some publication, and maybe we could do like a live podcast there.
I mean, that makes like the world of difference, because not only are you getting an episode out of it, but people are going to be like, oh, who are you guys? Oh, I love horror. Oh, I love podcasts.
That's your demographic you're looking for right there.
I just think like, and there's so many haunted attractions throughout New England.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've searched for it everywhere. I've searched for the titles of the haunts, like in every podcast platform, and I haven't really seen anything. So I just feel like it's a total open field to be able to talk about this stuff, and
that it's such a key thing to have like an interesting take, because most people are like, oh, I'm going to start a podcast, and we're like, about what? Wrestling. Well, what are you going to do? We're going to talk about what happened last night wrestling. I'm like, yeah, there's like 1,000 of those.
Yeah.
And how are you going to separate yourself from the crowd? And
what's your differentiator?
Right. And us being us, all we do is come up with new ideas. And like, oh, that'd be a really cool show. And so Fish like, I can't edit more than 3. I'm like, I get it, man. I get it.
Don't want to overwhelm him.
Yeah, I do. But he'll quit. So. It's been just such a blast, and like it's.
Well, I think the good thing too is being totally new to this, and I just literally I was like, what, screw it, we're gonna do it. I got the Instagram handle, I got the Twitter handle, and I started just following people that like podcasts that I listen to, and a bunch of them followed us back, like some local guys, some people that aren't that local, and people. You obviously too. DM have been extremely helpful. Everyone's really been pretty supportive so far, and that's been appreciated very much.
And it's a a platform where it's so easy to get started, because it's just you can do it with a laptop, and you probably even get away with the microphone on your laptop if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And just do it. And the real trick is just sticking with it. I mean, that's the hardest thing.
Just being consistent.
Yeah.
Every week or bi-week.
And if it's something you really enjoy, then it gets it's easier to do if you really enjoy it. But it's fun. Just start it and
see where it takes you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you can do. I mean,
and
it's the worst that happens.
If you stop doing it, and then you want to get back into it, be like, well, that was season 1. And,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I know a lot of podcasts do that. Maybe we could toy around with that too. I actually hadn't thought of that, but that's a good idea. Do seasons. Season 1.
Because that way your kind of work breaks in for yourself, so you're not getting burnt out.
Yeah.
recording an episode that has to go up, I don't know, what's today, Saturday? It's got to go up Monday, so
yeah.
I don't know if you or the other one who just records going up Monday, but someone's going up Monday.
That's fine.
And,
whenever it goes up,
yeah,
that's fine.
It can be, kind of self-induced pressure. Like, we try to keep a backlog of episodes, but then you get busy, and next thing you know, like, hey, we're out of episodes. We had like 4, and that was 4 weeks ago.
Right, yeah.
So, what is it about horror that makes you guys want to talk about it all the time?
You guys want to tackle
I
that?
don't know. I just feel like we're in like the golden age of horror movies right now. Like there's just always something coming out, and they're just so different than most movies. I love all types, but there's something about horrors that has just always drawn me in. I always loved Stephen King, so it's just, for me, I'd rather watch a horror movie over anything else.
Yeah.
So it's just, and we talk about it all the time, so it's like, well, why not? We'll just talk about horror movies and expand that to other avenues at some point. But
I feel like Hollywood is finally buying into them.
I think they finally realized that
there's money here.
For these horror movies, because for a while there, like in the 90s and stuff, I feel like there was nothing good coming out.
Yeah.
But the last 10 years, it's been just overwhelming. There's probably like 8 or 10 good horror movies that come out each year, as opposed to like 1 or 2 like it used to be. So.
And they're not even just coming out on Halloween or like in the fall. They're coming out all year
long,
round.
Yeah.
Like The Grudge just came out.
There are some awesome movies
did
dropping
they just
this
remake
month.
That?
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah. Yep. It came out last night. What was today? Saturday. It came out Thursday night was the premiere.
Yeah, in January. So it's like...
Yeah. But like it truly, Andrew nailed it, because this is truly the golden age if you're a horror fan. I mean, there's just so much shit out there, and theatrical releases, TV shows. Like Kat mentioned, The Grudge. That's out now. There's another movie coming out next week called Underwater that looks really cool. That's a horror movie. Netflix just dropped a BBC Dracula series that's produced by the same people that did Sherlock. If you ever watched Sherlock before,
Sherlock's so
Right,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we were watching the trailer for that last night, and we were just like, oh, you know what? This is going to be awesome. Like, we all saw from the producers of Sherlock, we were like, oh,
Yeah.
watching the hell out of this. But I mean, not only the theatrical releases, but on every streaming platform, there's so much that gets out there, because it's easier to access them than it ever has been before.
Especially the foreign horror films that you would never be able to watch before.
So, like, Netflix, Hulu, obviously, Amazon Prime, but there's even Shudder.
Shudder,
Which I subscribe to. They did an awesome reimagined Creepshow series this year.
Really?
Did you watch that?
No, I know of them. I'm not a subscriber to them.
Yeah.
I didn't know they did like their own content.
Oh yeah. So they produce original movies now. They produce their original shows. But yeah, they pull in all kinds of foreign films and all. So there's a wealth of stuff out there to watch.
There's so much. It's hard to kind of narrow it all down.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to watch this. I want to watch that.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
There's only so much time in the day,
And then you become committed to something that you really enjoy.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I can't give that up. Like, one of my favorite shows is a 4-hour weekly show.
Yeah.
So it's like every single week I like watch this, and it gets to the point where you hang out with your friends and be like, who's not up to date?
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm going to say some shit.
Yeah.
And if you're not up to date,
that's bad on you.
Yeah,
You should
exactly.
have watched it.
But it's like a 4-hour show. It's a commitment.
Show. What show is that?
Critical Role.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
It's uber nerdy. It is 8. Yeah, I think it's 8. Voice actors from video games and cartoons.
Okay.
That get together every week and play Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
But
So yes, nerdy. But
but they're all like professional actors, so they, it's like legit improv storytelling. Like, they're not just playing.
That's
Like, they're acting out. They're not just like, of course they're rolling dice and killing things, but they're like acting out. They all have like intricate backstories and find out things, and it's really compelling, and it's a huge hit.
Oh, I'll bet. I feel like there's been such a resurgence in interest in D&D, especially since Stranger Things kind of brought it back into the forefront of pop culture, I guess. But that's cool though.
They just started their second campaign about a year ago, and so the air shows live on Thursday night, which I never watch because they're on Pacific time, so it starts at like 10 o'clock at night. and they had 200,000 people watching live.
Wow.
And they just did a Kickstarter because they're all from cartoons, so they're like, oh, it'd be cool if we did like a short cartoon to cover like a little bit of the first campaign. So they put up a Kickstarter for like 750,000. They made it in 45 minutes.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
they are now the biggest movie or TV Kickstarter ever. They raised $11 million.
Wow.
So they're like, okay, we're going to do a whole season.
God.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
And they did all sorts of extra stuff and now they're like, they're a media company now. So they have their show that they're known for, and they have a studio, and they've expanded to all these other shows, and it's really fascinating to see and even they're like, why did you guys give us $11 million? Like,
What's wrong with
What have you done?
And so now they'll like go to conventions and stuff, and they'll be in an Uber, and they're like, oh, what do you do? We play Dungeons and Dragons for a living. You know, and it's just.
It's amazing what you can do for work nowadays.
Yeah, it goes back to that content type. Is like there's something for everyone. There's a niche for everything. If you put together an interesting idea, it's gonna find an audience. And YouTube is crazy. Like the rabbit holes you can go down, and like some guy scuba dives and picks junk out of a river, and he's got a channel and sponsors and.
It's like my brother is obsessed with like YouTube, so he's always watching it when I'm there.
Yes, he is.
And he's watching this show. It's called like Cole the Corn Husker or something. And this guy is just farming like corn. I'm like, why are you watching this? He's like, I don't know, but I can't stop watching
It's
it.
really good. I don't know.
It's such weird stuff on there, and you're like, no one's gonna watch this. And someone does.
Your brother could watch about 800,000 vines in a row on YouTube.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like every time I'm over there, he
Tell
goes
your
down the
brother
vine
about the
rabbit
Marble
hole.
Olympics.
Marble Olympics, okay.
Yes.
Marble Olympics?
I don't know why I watch it. It's compelling to the point where someone for my birthday was like, I was going to buy you a t-shirt if they had one for like your favorite team. It's just marbles rolling down different tracks and whatnot. But there's like an announcer and I've watched
What a
it.
world.
It's way too much of it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't know how the hell we got it here. But so, you know, what is your favorite medium for horror and your favorite thing in that medium?
Ooh. I kind of consume everything because I'm like I said, Judgment Free Zone. I'm a nerd too. I mean, I subscribe to Fangoria. I bought a horror board game at Target the other day. So I feel like I have to go movies though. I feel like it's still, you know, that's kind of. My dad introduced me to horror movies when I was growing up, so that's kind of where my love for it first started. There's nothing better than, you know, I feel like the experience of going to the movies and seeing something truly scary.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing like it.
No, there isn't. I would say movies too. For me, the most fun I get out of it is I'll spend maybe an hour and a half just researching what's available on streaming networks for the horror movies, and then reading up on them before I watch them, and then just trying to find that one horror movie so that you can bring it to your friends and be like, you haven't seen this movie, but you gotta watch it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more fun than...
So you like kind of the more obscure stuff?
I like a lot of obscure stuff, so
Yeah.
I'll go through and search for a lot of weird stuff and see if they've seen it, and if they haven't, I'm like, you guys gotta watch it. And
Oh yeah.
I like Amazon Prime for that because they have all
Amazon
sorts
Prime
of
has so much.
weird
Prime has the
B-movies.
weirdest
Yeah.
on there.
stuff.
What I watch, Amazon Women in the Avocado Jungle of Death.
That's
it's
wild.
so awesomely bad.
Remember
Like
that-
those are my favorite horror movies. Are the
Yeah.
ones that are like, this is terrible.
Which is why I think the 80s is
Yeah.
the best for that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I watched Chud the other day.
Oh yeah.
It's a random movie, but Amazon has the most obscure movies.
Yeah,
on
it's
there.
great.
So Amazon actually has a lot of local stuff too. So I know yesterday when you tweeted out that picture of the Puckwudgie or something from the Inebri-art account,
Yeah.
there's an awesome local documentary about the Bridgewater Triangle on there.
Oh no kidding.
Yeah, and there's a lot of.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, there's a guy named Jeff Belanger who's from Massachusetts, I think, and he does a lot of New England haunted stuff.
Yep.
And all of that's on there to stream too. So there's a
that's
lot of cool.
I used to live
local
like
stuff.
right in the heart of the Bridgewater Triangle.
Yeah, you ever see anything weird?
No, not a thing. Deer.
No Puckwudgies
No
or
Puckwudgies, a
Yetis
fox?
or UFOs
No,
or
no.
strange
Flying
mist.
dinosaurs. I think
Yeah.
it was like pterodactyls.
Yeah, I had some neighbors that were a little weird, but nothing,
Yeah, nothing out of the
hard.
ordinary.
Yeah. Just normal weird. What about you? What's
I know, I hate to be boring, but I feel like I'd go with movies too, because I feel like I like things that scare the shit out of me. And like, There's nothing. I'm a much more visual person. Like I don't read. I don't pretend to read. Like I would never pick up a horror book. Although I did read. Well, the only Stephen King book I read was The Green Mile, which I don't really feel like is a horror movie.
No, not at all.
I'm like, that's one of the things he wrote that was not scary at all. But
I read that when it came out and was like put out like by the chapter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a reader, so that was like
no, but visual stuff for me is like movies. I mean, The Ring is gonna scare me until the day I die. Like the girl is standing in the corner in the dark. Like I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, where's Samara? Where is she? I know she's in the house somewhere. Like. So I'd say movies, TV series too. I mean, we watch a lot of TV series now. They all come out like Castle Rock. We just finished. That was awesome. The Purge. I love The Purge.
Yep.
The Purge is a series now?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been 2 seasons. It's on USA. It's actually pretty damn good.
Yeah.
For a cable show.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I think season 2 is actually a little bit better than season 1. But Castle Rock's really cool. There's a lot out there. So I have to stick up as the lone book reader on our podcast. I have to say that there is, kind of neck and neck with movies for me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's the element when you read something scary, you're kind of adding your own. You're visualizing everything in your own imagination, right?
You can think of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I remember the first book that really scared the shit out of me was the Amityville Horror.
Okay. Yeah.
So I read that, and that's a really scary book. I don't think the movies are anywhere near as scary as the book is, but that's one that.
I didn't know that was a book.
Oh yeah, it's both the movies are based on a book that supposedly is a true story. But yeah, I've read a lot of Stephen King. I've read a lot of paranormal stuff. So books are a good way to scare yourself silly sometimes too.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Now, do you guys like thrillers or like slasher films? Or
She's a big thriller and psychological horror fan.
Yeah.
Monsters don't do it for me.
No.
He loves monsters. I think they're stupid.
Oh, give me all the monsters. I mean, I love everything from like the Universal classic monster movies.
Yeah.
All those old ones are great. The Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein,
I
and then the Wolfman. Oh,
because,
it's great. It's so good. All those old movies.
The
are
guy
great.
who was just here is a big horror fan.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it in the past, and he's like, it's a seriously good movie.
Yeah. Oh, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good. But yeah, give me werewolves, give me monsters, give me sea monsters, all of it. Any movie like
Aliens.
that. So probably my favorite, two of my 3 favorite horror movies of all time are Alien and Jaws.
Okay.
Both monster movies.
Alien's great.
Alien's fantastic.
Jaws isn't like a monster. That's a real monster.
Yes.
Aliens could be real monsters. So
Could be.
You're not just strictly just monster movies.
Yeah. But, hey, I don't discriminate. I'll watch anything.
Yeah.
I am kind of happy that the whole, I guess, quote-unquote torture porn genre has kind of faded a little bit.
Yeah.
That got a little bit tired.
Saw,
Yeah, like I see, like
they all got a little much.
Yeah, like the first Saw's awesome.
Yeah.
Hostel was okay, but then you get into all the sequels. Just how I'm not as much of a fan as like how much can I gross you out. I kind of like to be. Sometimes when you don't show stuff, it can be a little bit scary because again, if you're imagining what's happening, it's a little bit scarier than actually seeing someone get I don't know their throat slit or their head cut off.
That's
or
a good point.
whatever.
Well, I feel like when I see whatever the monster or the villain in a horror movie is, I'm way less scared because then I know what they look like.
Yeah.
But if I make it up in my head, I'm like terrified for the rest of my life.
I feel like I'm kind of that way with zombies. Like, don't tell me why they're zombies because I'm going to be like, that's fucking stupid.
Right.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a reason that makes
just
any
tell
sense.
me they're zombies.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
You can vaguely be like, oh, it's a disease or a plague or whatever, but just leave it at they're zombies and I'll take that.
Yeah.
And I feel like anytime you try to over-explain, you just end up ruining it.
So are you a big Walking Dead fan?
So I'm gonna be like, oh, I used to be into The Walking Dead when it was cool,
right?
No.
Yeah.
But I used to own a comic book shop, so I used to read the comic, and it was the recommendation I always made. People were like, oh, what should I be reading? I'm like, you should be reading The Walking Dead.
Reed Kirkman. Yeah.
And so when the show came out, I was a huge fan of it, and then I just kind of fell off. Around season 5.
Yeah.
That's when most people jump ship.
Yeah, and it was just one of those like, I'll get to it, and then never did. And then just recently, like right before Christmas, I don't even know why, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to watch Walking Dead.
Yep.
So now I'm like rewatching it.
Yep.
And it's a lot faster paced than I remembered. Like things happen a lot faster.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the first few seasons, they definitely were on a tighter budget.
Yeah.
which is why, there's kind of the whole, if you look it up, you can read all about it, but Frank Darabont, who directed The Green Mile.
Yeah, he left
he
because
was
of the budget.
fired, allegedly, and he's still in legal battles with AMC because they wanted to cut the budget, and there's a whole thing you can read about that.
They wanted twice the episodes with half the budget.
Exactly.
Like that.
He wasn't having it, so he left, and they brought in different showrunners, but the tone of the first couple of seasons when he was there way different than the ones now. Now it's just an action series.
Yeah.
The first couple of seasons, when we started watching it, I remember, you thought it was scary.
It was terrifying.
Very graphic.
For the first 2 weeks, I had nightmares of zombies, and I couldn't sleep. It was it was terrible.
It's one of those. It's more. I find the people more frightening in it.
Yeah.
Than the zombies. The zombies are like a threat that's always there, but the people are really evil.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Which my personal favorite storyline was the whole governor thing. In
That's right about where I am right now.
So you'll hit a lull, and I don't want to spoil anything for you, but
I've seen up to where Negan comes in.
Okay.
And I've read up to the what do they call him?
Whisperers.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's where the show is now, is with the Whisperers, and
But I know Rick's already left, and what's his name? Carl's dead, and
okay. So you know some of the big spoilers.
Yeah.
Well, the way they killed Rick, or not killed, he's got off the show.
Spoiler alert.
That whole thing was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
The whole Carl sucked as a character on the show anyway. I know he's better in the comics, but he was terrible on the show. The way that he left was stupid.
I just thought it was weird because Carl's a huge part of the Whisperer storyline.
He is,
and so I'm like, I don't know if they juggled around and gave parts to other people, so I don't know if that's happening. But
well, I think once the Negan storyline kind of hit, they hit a lull for a while where it kind of lost me, and I know we were both like, okay, well, we're this far into it, I kind of just want to see this through, because they're talking that it could go 15 to 20 seasons. I don't think there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. It's still getting millions and millions of viewers, but I feel like it's dropped off each season.
Yeah.
But the last season, when they brought the Whisperers in, I actually really liked.
And
I thought it was
Opie's
their
from
yeah.
Sons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he brought a good element to it. The Samantha Morton, the woman who plays Alpha, she's actually really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's.
So yeah, keep watching. And, obviously.
And that was the
let me
thing.
know
Is
what you
I
think.
had nothing to do. For months, and I'm
and that's a show that would benefit so much from just trimming some of the fat. Does every season need to be 16 episodes?
Yeah.
Follow the Netflix model. Do 8 episodes and make everyone
Sometimes
compelling.
less is better.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There's too much filler.
Less is more for that.
Less is better too.
Less is better.
Less is better.
I just remember I was right about reading the governor storyline when they announced that it was coming out. I'm like, how are they going to do this on TV?
Yeah.
Because the governor was way worse in the comic book. And they did okay, but it's just fun. I enjoy the zombies.
Yeah.
Did you ever read The Outsider by Kirkman? Or not The Outsider. What's the one that he did? It was a show that was on Cinemax that we watched. It's about the guy he was possessed and he works with a priest.
Preacher?
Outcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not Preacher. Preacher's an AMC series too, but it's another one that
I
Kirkman
watched
wrote.
the first season of Preacher, and that was pretty. I get it. I don't know if they have. Are there more seasons?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. There's been a couple.
It was pretty interesting when I started watching it. I was like, I can get into this because it takes a lot for me to get into a show and stick with it. I never got into Game of Thrones. I never got into The Walking Dead. I'm not a big zombie fan, so that's probably why.
I like Game of Thrones, but I feel like I need a flow chart of who the hell everyone is. There's just too many characters.
I think I just got so far behind, and everyone knew so much about it that I was like, I'm just gonna cut my losses. I'm not gonna.
You jumped on the train way too late.
It was too late. I was like, that's the same thing with The Walking Dead. I'm not even gonna attempt.
Yeah, I think if you were to ask someone to start from season 1, episode 1 of The Walking Dead and watch the whole thing now, it's a pretty daunting task.
Yeah.
That's a good
that's
a good month of your life of watching The Walking Dead.
Well, that's how we caught up. We binged. We sat down and was just like, let's knock this out. We'll catch up to the present
Sometimes
day
I think
episode.
the best shows are 2 or 3 seasons, and then they just know when to
have a definite end point in mind and then get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am a big fan of there should be an ending.
Yeah.
The stuff that just kind of goes on forever is just you end up just losing stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I keep telling you about one of my favorite shows, but you still haven't watched it, Fortitude. It's 2 seasons. It takes place in island up in the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
And a woolly mammoth thaws out from underneath the ice, and it releases some parasitic wasps that start infecting people.
I think I've seen parts of that.
It's a bananas fucking concept for a show.
It's an amazing show.
I think I've seen that.
It's on Amazon or Hulu. Amazon or Hulu.
I think it might be on Amazon. I think I started watching that.
It's one of the guys that's actually in Game of Thrones. I couldn't tell you his name. I know he's got like a patch over one eye.
Yeah.
Beric Dondarrion.
Yes.
Of course.
Oh yeah, just rattles it off.
I'm obsessed with Game of
He's
Thrones.
one of the main
so,
characters
yes.
in that show, and he's awesome. That guy is a lunatic.
Yeah.
He just watches
It's a foreign show too, right?
It's a foreign show.
Yeah,
I think it was like Sky. Is it Sky that produced it?
It's on Prime. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid was in the second
Dennis Quaid's
season.
in it. Okay, yeah.
I know, I'm definitely gonna have to check it out again
Oh,
because
it's
I
so
know
good.
I've seen parts of it. I don't know if I've seen the whole
It gets
thing.
bananas. And,
Yeah.
and it's 2 seasons, and then it's just
Done.
I don't know if that's because it didn't have enough viewership, but
Yeah.
I thought it ended well. I can't talk enough about that show. It's so good. But aside from that,
I'll check it out
The new
eventually.
thing that I've binge watched in like no time at all was The Boys.
Oh, see, I heard that was great. I haven't watched that
That
yet.
show's messed up.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's
is it the comic?
yeah. So it's
Okay.
basically like, to me, it's the most realistic version of superheroes,
Yeah.
where they're assholes, misogynists, and
Yeah.
definitely hashtag Me Too kind of guys.
Yeah.
It's great. It's this group of non-superhero people trying to hold them accountable,
Yeah.
and it's
Carl Urban's in that, right?
He's amazing in it.
Yeah.
He's really, really good. He's one of those characters where you really like him and dislike him at the same time,
Yeah.
because he's not a good guy,
Yeah.
but he's the good guy. It was blew me away, and how the first season ended. Never saw it coming. It was brutal and gruesome, and
Oh wow, I'll have to check that
yeah,
out.
wait,
like,
I'll
it is
check that one out.
not a show for the faint of heart. It is pretty bloody.
Yeah, I've heard there's some pretty cool gore in that. So
Yeah.
a lot of blood.
Yeah,
So
and because you're trying to kill people who are basically impervious, so
Yeah.
you come up with some novel ways to do so.
I think the main guy, I've heard about it, but I haven't watched it. The main guy in that show that plays like the Captain America Superman
Oh, the
hybrid,
Superman, yeah.
Anthony Starr. So he
Yeah.
was in a show called Banshee that was on Cinemax.
Okay.
Do you ever watch Banshee? I think
No,
No.
I've never had Cinemax.
that's a really cool show. It's not a horror show. It's an action show, but it had like 5 seasons. It was on Cinemax. He's in that. He's the main character. That's a really cool show that a lot of people haven't seen. So non-horror recommendation from me.
What is upcoming that you're waiting for?
I personally cannot wait for. I can't wait to see The Grudge that's coming
Yeah.
out. I can't wait to see this movie Underwater that I already mentioned.
Yep.
And I mean, aside from that, do you have anything like a one big thing that you're looking for?
I haven't really started to delve into the upcoming movies that are coming out for the year yet. Kind of just. I mean, The Grudge looks good. I didn't really like the first Grudge. It was all right. I thought it was all right. So I'm looking for it after seeing the trailer for the second Grudge. Looks pretty good.
Sorry, I had to jog my memory. I got a couple, but go ahead.
I was going to do the same thing, so I'm sure anything you'd say now is going to be the same thing.
Okay.
Because I know I saw a trailer the other day for something I was interested in, and I can't remember what it was.
Oh, Quiet
So-
Place 2 that we would.
No,
Yeah.
that wasn't it. But that does look.
Oh, I never saw the first one.
Oh, it's so
yeah, I've
good.
heard really good things about it.
Yeah. So we talked about this on our It Follows episode that'll be coming out soon. I loved A Quiet Place. I just didn't think it was the type of movie that needed a sequel, personally. But I do think the trailer that has dropped looks pretty interesting. We'll obviously see it.
Well, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, it hit
Yeah.
the box office and it did
Oh, it's a huge hit.
amazing.
Huge
So
hit.
why wouldn't it have a sequel?
Yeah. Well, that's. I
It
know,
didn't really leave it like it didn't have an ending. I mean, it totally left it open because I mean those things are still out there.
Well,
at the
I
end.
mean, I think that. Well, yes, they're still out there, but I just think that the way that they kind of gave you, and I won't spoil it if you haven't seen A Quiet Place, but the way they kind of gave you that emotional gut punch of an ending, I don't know. I just feel like it didn't really need a sequel. But obviously, I will still see it.
Well, yeah.
So here, I'll give you 3 that I'm actually I can give you more than that. I'll give you a couple that I'm really excited for. So The Conjuring 3 comes out in 2020.
Yeah.
First 2 movies. First movie's great. Second movie is very good, underrated. Ghostbusters Afterlife comes out this year.
I was just going to mention that.
Forgot about that. We did the trailer on that too. And
The trailer looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I'm just excited that they're, kind of the legacy horror sequels that have been coming out lately. That's the new big thing. Like they did the legacy horror sequel to Halloween that came out last year, which I liked.
That was good.
Yeah, and they're doing, they did like the Terminator sequel that came out last year where, Sarah Connor's in it again, like Linda Hamilton's in it again playing Sarah Connor. Yeah. That didn't do really well at the box office, but so they're doing a lot of those sequels to like older movies. Like I know like Eddie Murphy said on Saturday Night Live that he just finished doing a Coming to America sequel that's going to be coming out this year.
I heard that. Yeah.
They should bring back Scream.
Well, there's talk of that too.
Have everyone like now that was in it before?
Yeah,
like,
I don't think anything's
Matthew
been
Lillard
like
and Courtney Cox and like have them all. Nev Campbell, have them all back.
That would be
interesting.
It would make money. It would make a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Ghostbusters, I couldn't be more excited for. That might be my biggest one. And there's a sequel to the Halloween sequel that came out last year. Sequel to the sequel. What else? Let me see. Is there anything else here? There's a bunch of cool stuff, but I'd say those are probably the ones that I'm the most excited for.
Nice. You're also cheating.
Well, I had to. I mean, my brain's only so big.
Research?
On the spot research.
Yes, exactly. I got to sound informed.
So you guys are on multiple platforms, so people can find you pretty much.
Yeah,
we're trying to get on every platform possible because you never know what people.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we are currently. So you can find us on Spotify. That's probably the most accessible platform that we're on. But we're also on. We're on Castbox. We are on.
Are you guys on Stitcher yet?
No, not Stitcher yet. I know you asked about that one. So Spreaker doesn't actually give that as an option for us to distribute to for whatever reason. I don't really know why, but yeah. So we're on Spotify. We're on Castbox. We're on Spreaker. We're on Deezer. We're on Podcast Addict. Podchaser. Never heard of that one. But soon to be on iTunes, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. We're all over social media as well. You can find us on Twitter at Hometown Horror. You can find us on Instagram at Hometown Horror Pod. And very soon we'll have an awesome website designed by Kat.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hopefully within the next month.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Yep.
Well, thanks for coming on the show and just.
Oh my God, pleasure
having us.
Yeah,
thank you for having us.
And so for our listeners, you can. I'm not sure which one's coming out first, but jump over to their show because after I hit stop and we stretch and whatever, because these stools aren't super comfortable.
It's like your stools, basically.
Yeah, they're like the same thing.
We're going to record an episode of your show that I'm going to guest on. So
absolutely.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we have a couple episodes that are up already. With the most recent one we dropped is on The Shining. We have one coming on It Follows, and then we'll have our interview with you as well.
Nice. All right. So listeners, head over there and check that one out.
All right, thanks for listening to the podcast, and you can get us on the internet on all social medias at Inebri-art, except for Instagram is at Inebri-art6. You can email us, Inebri-art@yahoo.com, with all your questions, comments, and complaints. And if you're looking for other podcasts, you can check out the other podcasts on the Inebri-art network. We have The Good Book. We have Retro Redoctopus. There is America's Hometown Horror, and of course Bar Talk, Old Colony Cast, and Inebri-art. So check those out and subscribe and comment, and that helps us reach more people. So thanks for listening.